Good morning, students. Today is our last session on this chapter of Indus Valley Civilization. I have covered most of it, most of the important topics in this. So I am right now going through the book as to probably certain things which might have been skipped out. But let me tell you one thing. Even if I have skipped that, it is very deliberate because I want you guys to at least do some study of your own. But I would just kind of fleetingly take the things that is mentioned in the boxes right from the first chapter. That is, in my opinion, you must, students, I'm just going through rather the first. The terms, places, and times, of course, we are aware of it. We have taken now this the page number two. That is the map that you see, students. You can please practice as much as possible when this map is concerned. All these sites, whether Balakot, it's not just that Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, but right from Suktakantor to Rangapur, or if it is Rakhigadi, or it's Nageshwar, or Dolavira, any Kotdiji, anything, okay? Just memorize these maps because these are extremely important maps, and the questions definitely come in all the examinations, right from internal examinations to the external ones. Okay, so please go through these maps very diligently. Okay, now the early and the Harappan cultures, the box, the total number of sites, Sindh, and the early Harappan sites. Students, when it comes to the number of sites, a lot of still it needs to be unraveled. The archaeologists are working, and it is, you never know how much is yet to be unearthed, so you can never be sure about the number of sites, as you all know. The plight of Harappa, that is on page 6. Although Harappa was the first site to be discovered, it was badly destroyed by big robbers. Because, students, you have to, it is very obvious that in earlier times, you did not have much of an idea about the significance of these archaeological ruins, because people normally think that, yes, what there's something might have been there, but it is all gone now, so why now cry over something which is not there anymore? Why to get so sentimental about those ruins and some bricks and some holes and some pits? So naturally, we had, as we had seen in our previous video, a lot many number of bricks from these sites were used by during the British times for the construction, or rather from during for the expansion of railway network in the areas around present day Pakistan, which then was definitely British India. Citadels, we have covered it. The most ancient system yet discovered. Yes, this is something which we have throughout seen in the videos, that Indus Valley civilization and the achievements of Indus Valley civilization was much ahead of its times. Okay, and though we do not have those pyramids to flaunt, okay, we do not have Indus Valley civilization that does not give you any wonders of the ancient world or the modern world. Definitely it doesn't. Okay, nothing that stands today as a wonder where you see something and you get awestruck, like it happens when people see the pyramids of Egypt. Okay, you do not have anything like that. But then you need to understand it, not that now that does not necessarily mean that the people were not civilized. I have always maintained, even in, I think, in even in my classes, that different civilizations have different priorities. Students, Egyptians were about great monuments, huge monuments, because they wanted their monuments to make them immortal. They knew that if you make something so grand, okay, something so grand, and it stands the test of time, uh, you know you your name lives with those monuments. Like even today, when we talk about the pyramids, you cannot not talk about the great pharaohs Ramses and the great queens like Nefertiti. You cannot, because the Egyptian civilization, at least the ancient Egyptian civilization, or Tutankhamen for that matter, it would be incomplete without those names. So we in Indus Valley civilization, and even not just Indus Valley, this is not just a Indus Valley civilization thing. This is something which all the civilizations, all the rulers, even after Indus Valley civilizations, the people who inherited this culture, this civilization, we were never about, at least not before the Mughals came to India, we were never about great, magnificent structures and the enormous archaeological wonders where you probably a project carries on for 15 or 20 years like Taj Mahal, and then something that is supposed to make you immortal. No, the Indians were never about that, because if you remember, you must have studied, I don't know in which class, about Ashoka and Chandragupta Maurya, people who ruled enormous stretches of land, enormous stretches of right, right from today's Pakistan to today's Burma to Bangladesh, whole India, enormous amount of wealth, but no palace of Chandragupta Maurya stands there. No one has an idea if they were actually living in palaces. Nothing about Ashok's palace, something that would give a grand signature of Ashoka, that he was the most powerful man, the great Ashoka, the great, but nothing stands because we were mostly about abstract things. Like our priorities were different. We were about yoga, we were about Ayurveda, we were about mathematics, we were about astronomy, astrology, in discovery of zeros, and the great mathematical puzzles. We were just not keen in those things. So it could be even the same thing for the people of Indus Valley, where their priorities were entirely different. And as we have seen that there was not such a established institution of the king or the kingship in Indus Valley civilization. Probably it was a rule by a select group of people, whether it was about those select group of people were only from a certain segment of the society, or it comprised people from all segments of society, like priest that we have seen, the bust of priest, and then the merchants, as some speculate, because there's a great deal of merchandise and there is a great deal of trading that gets suggested by how elaborate the whole system of exchange of goods and services is. So they must have the merchant segment or the trader segment must have been very influential and powerful. So they must have had been playing some important role within the state machinery. So we did not have an Indus Valley civilization. Nowhere do you have some kind of some kind of an evidence which would suggest that yes, there was something called kingship. Okay, so because there was no king or an emperor or a prince as such, so definitely probably he had no there was there was he never had any intentions of becoming an immortal, his name to stand forever, because ultimately these things were being ruled by probably these sites were and these civilization was being ruled by a select group of people. Okay, then we have on identifying centers of production. This is something which I want you to, we have already covered, but I want you to go through it. Now, seals, script, and weights, and that's there in page number 15. And enigmatic script, of course, we have already covered that the script of Indus Valley civilization has not yet been deciphered. Uh, we say that yes, the script was moving from right to left, which is quite curious when you compare it with the other with any script which is found in any part of India, which is which definitely is none of our Indian scripts go from right to left except the Indus Valley script. Okay, uh, then and a script which has not yet been deciphered, of course. And, ancient the end of the civilization, yes, end of the civilization, there are different theories about how the civilization ended. So some people about rivers changing their course, some people about an earthquake, some people about something, and some people about something. But yes, no one very sure for certain as to how and why it ended, but some do say that it, some uh, civilization or some tribes from Central Asia, who were the warrior tribes who pushed them down south. And there are evidences that yes, it could have happened. And students, there's one tribe which I particularly want to mention. That tribe is known as Asmak or the Aswak. Okay, now these are the people who are now settled in the areas around Madhya Pradesh. Now that is definitely in central part of India and the area slightly south of Vindhyachal. But the problem is, or rather, what is very curious is that the Asmaks and the Aswaks, or the Aswaks rather, it has been mentioned by the historians who were traveling with Alexander the Great. Okay, now Alexander, definitely we know that he never ventured till Madhya Pradesh. Definitely not. He went till our modern Punjab, and but Alexander talks about, or rather, his historians talk about the Asmak or the Aswak tribe, because but today the Asmaks are only found in the areas around the river Godavari Valley. That is the Godavari Valley, but they have not just curiously been mentioned by Alexander, but the Aswaks are also they also find mention in our ancient texts, Mahabharata and Ramayana. And from this particular part of country, definitely they are not mentioned as people from central India. So that clearly gives weightage to the theory that some tribes were definitely pushed who earlier used to live in the western part of India, that is in the areas of today's Pakistan and Punjab. They now are found in central part of India and probably south. Now we have no idea whether it was all voluntarily, that they are now that they came down south to the certain part of India, or they were pushed and chased away. So that is one thing is for sure, which is quite interesting. And I would like to end with page number 23, which I found interesting. The last paragraph, let's look, for instance, the Proto Shiva seals, where he is also talked as Rudra. And, that could be true because we say, because all of you are watching Ramayana and me, myself included. So, Bajrangbali is known as the Rudra avatar. And we say that, yes, he is the Ansh of Lord Shiva. So, yes, why not? Okay, guys, go through this. Tomorrow we would start a new chapter, the second chapter, which is Kings, Farmers, and Towns. Bye.